I'm Dave from R1 Digital Media. We're a tiny little agency who's quite quirky, based over in Crewe, just in the middle of the Cheshire countryside, in an old barn. If anyone's in the area, fancy a coffee, just pop in and whatever. Yeah, so Dave, right. Scheduled was a talk by Matt O'Connor about why you shouldn't be a Magento developer. Well, he can't make it today for reasons that I don't want to go into. So that's not right. So it all starts again on these nice slides. Anyway, so instead you've got me, Dave Hitchen, saying about why I want to be a Magento developer. I've only been in the industry for about 2 years. I started off quite a successful IT reseller, solving problems of, we need to have these offers going out onto the internet, so they want to come in and buy offers. It was all simple tasks, problem solving, one after the other. And eventually it came up that the problem was to figure out how to make it so we can sell online. So, once again, no more judgment. Tried a few platforms. All of them, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying they're more sort of for an advanced user rather than if you actually want to get and start pulling things apart and, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so none of them are particularly scalable, particularly with Volusion, I think it was called. The second one wanted to try and add about 5,000 products. They wanted another $100 a month. It just went all a little bit wrong. So, the features were good, sort of, but the second you wanted to actually change them around and make them all, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here, but who cares? They just weren't that good. So that was a big negative as well, and there was no real online community as well. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm a novice in all this sort of stuff. So if I need to solve a problem, it's a case of I go out in the Magento community, I go out to Stack Overflow and find a clever person like someone in this room who's already done it, slice it together, make it work, all done. So, but on these you couldn't do that, and the flexibility as well. I had a great problem with. If you actually want to, I'm sure if you bought one off Dell, fully Mac person these days, but you want to buy a PC off Dell, you want to be able to configure everything, you want to know what process you're going to have, you want to know what RAM you're going to use. All of these, which are now gone, are absolutely terrible for that. You can't build up an extensive product catalog, so that was just terrible as well. So whilst trying to research, trying to make a terrible platform work it, I discovered Magento, and it completely changed my life. No, it opened my outlook. It sounds a little bit sad that. There's the simple fact of, when you put yourself in my position, I was just trying to figure out problems. I was stuck in a world of closed doors where it's a case of, I want to extend this functionality. Well, you can't unless you pay more a month, or you mess around with this, or you actually start pulling apart things that aren't supposed to be pulled apart because I guaranteed it, yada, 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 yada. So, Magento went into it, and suddenly it was scalable. I found out that if I wanted to go from 1,000 products when I was first making everything work to the full 15,000 of a massive product range, it was already there. I didn't have to worry about anything or reconsider anything. It was just a case of making sure the server was configured correctly, which is still quite a fun task. I'm sure you guys can all do that, but I have fun using the lead developers over at R1 to make sure it all works the right prop for me. The features, I mean, obviously you all know the standard Magento features of the reporting and stuff. They work, and I quite like them, but they're all basic. But I like the flexibility you have of the fact that it's all completely SEOable, and you give it to a clever front-end guy who does all sorts of nonsense. Or you can even buy a plugin, which I'm not sure what the opinion in the community is of buying a plugin and just standing on the shoulders of giants, but that's basically what I do anyway. And the online community is there. If someone's figured it out, just go and figure it out, patch all your code together, make it work another way. Yeah, it all just works great and flexible. I mean, the issue I had with the previous platforms of I couldn't build. So if you've got an advanced server configuration, you want to be able to build it up with your processor, your RAM, your Microsoft, your whatever they want to do it. You just couldn't do that. Whereas on Magento, it's simple. You just build a load of simple products, you configure them, you group them, you do whatever you want. It's just a case of learning how it all works, and I really, really, really like that bit. Yeah. So anyway. I've digressed, I knew I would. But why I want to be a Magento developer is basically because I like making things work, and that's the main point about how I got there in the first place. I'm sure that's the reason why you guys like it. I know making money actually helps as well. But the main three things about Magento that I like is the object-oriented programming aspect of it, the fact that it's all referencing itself and working very cleverly. Still a bit of a novice, so I'm getting my head around it. The EAV-ness of it all, it was fantastic. People are, you know the first time you're in infant school and they say A is for apple, it's like E is for entity, A is for attribute. It was like I've gone back to infant school again. It was all so simple and just worked and made sense after a slight bit of research and someone holding my hand. And the module modular extendability of everything just works great. So for the way that I want to carry on my coding adventure and all that sort of rubbish, is this fact that I want to remain the problem solver I once was, to make sure that everything is very much keeping the business case in mind of what the code you're trying to exempt and work properly is based on the end goal. But keep these in mind, in particular the modular extendability of it, because there's nothing more frustrating when you realise that you've altered something, and then when you take that out, it ricochets onto everything else. And the concept of everything just being on its own individual tracks was just really, really fun. Yeah, and then we found. So I was working for the IT reseller, and the next second I think that's a little bit boring, this one site. So got me a nice job over at R1 as a junior developer, working with some really, really clever guys, and they've put me on to the qualifications, which is good. Is anyone qualified in the room, by the way? I'm sure you're all going to... Yeah, I was just interested, sorry, right? Yeah, but having a look through, and I'm sure you all know this, but the solution specialists seem more sort of an advanced user sort of way of thinking. You know, like, you make sure you're not going to reinvent the wheel because you know there's already a function or a functionality out in the marketplace or what already comes out of Magento, which is handy to know, but it seems more if you're going to try and sell the solution or recommend the solution, I quite like to get involved with the users one step in. Oh yeah, Magento is fantastic. Build us a site doing it, that's sort of where I want to come in. I mean, the front end developer as well. And with the whole responsive web design, obviously you're stuck in the Stone Age. If you don't have responsive web design, it's just going to go terribly wrong. So that sort of, it gives me a headache, basically, messing around, making everything go from the big screen to a little screen to a little screen to a little screen. You think, life's too short to be messing. Sorry for any front end developers who really love that stuff. It looks nice, but it drives me mad messing around with pixel perfect stuff. So it looks like my only option is to become a back-end developer or the developer qualification, and that's sort of where I'm heading to at the minute. But not as a to put it on my CV and make sure that I look all employable and yeah, I've got this qualification. It's more of a, if you're going to advance in your career, it's a case of making sure you've got milestones which you're working towards and considering. So it's just a case of the next step, the next avenue, the next, not sure how long it's going to take me, because I'm not saying I'm ready there yet. I mean, what I do at the minute is we have an issue that needs solving, bounce ideas off the guys in the office, we figure it out. So it's very reactive in my learning too. There's this a certain aspect that needs to be addressed, I then address it. Whereas what I'd like to do is fully experiment and look into the database structures, which anyone say it's interesting or no, but it would interest me. So then my learning can become more proactive and assessing what Magento can do rather than just reacting to all of the issues. And then in an ideal world, look, these slides, you see that arrow go down? He was really impressed. Anyway, the Developer Plus qualification. So that'd be sort of an ideal place for me to get there in the end, which is pretty good. And I'm glad it was called a lightning talk. I've just breezed through these slides. And we've got to thank you. And yeah. Basically, I'm more curious about what anyone else thinks. Does anyone else have any sort of advice or what I should avoid when I'm going down this learning the Magento? Or should I just run out the door now? Is anyone? Stack up, yes. I mean, I love always called Mage because you think, yeah, I'm no mage. It's just a case of running around looking for alchemy ingredients, whack them together. Woohoo! I pretend to be a wizard. No, that's true. I'm a bit of a geek. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was just going to say, as I've learned Magento and come to understand it and why it's so great, I just advise reading the code. It takes a long time, and you can spend hours going down through classes and methods, but it's really instructive just to read the code.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about it. I mean, there's no program to sort of figure out. It'd be great if you're actually in one PHTML file and you sort of went this and then do your little arrow and, oh, look, all the different function options. No, it doesn't work like that. It'd be lovely if someone could invent that to make it easy for someone like me. But it sort of shrouds it all in mystery, which is sort of nice. And then when you achieve something that someone doesn't understand, it sort of makes you look like some sort of genius, which is me, little easy wins. Anyone got anything else that I can do?
Highly advise you get PHP Storm and Magento installed then if you can't work out where things are, or if you want to do some quick coding.
Awesome. Yes, thank you.
It allows you to start typing in something and that'll give you all the options for things that are like that and build anything with it, really. It's quite useful to have a look through some of the original code with it as well.
No, that's cool. It's cool. Still, I knew this would be a good idea. So I'm sorry to sort of make you do my presentation for me. But it was dropped on me yesterday, and you know it is.
Yeah, I think there's a book called Grok in Magento. I think some guy's selling it.
I've read that one. Well, I've been flicking through.
There's also Mage Study Guide, which is, again, it's really good. And you should check out Xdebug to be able to step through the code and just see how the logic kind of translates for every different element in Magento you can go from. I know how blocks are rendered to all the different classes to get to that point from the abstract to the output. It's, it's probably the best way to go.
I noticed that on the previous slides. Like, people actually telling you something like, oh, that's pretty good, write that down. No, thank you.
So one of the most helpful things I used to learn is trying to help others. Like on Stack Exchange is one great option if you could write answers. Is awesome to learn. And also on IRC, there are some great IRC channels on Freenode. And yeah, just start answering and then scramble to figure out how it really works, right? It's really good.
That's the thing, whenever going to Stack Overflow, you think, oh, I know that'd work. You scroll down a little bit, oh, someone's already solved it. I always seem to be coming to the party too late. But oh, exactly, yeah. It's like I brought a bottle, everyone's already drunk, oh dear. Well, that's what I like about it. It's good, it's advanced, and it's pretty cool. Anyone else want to guide me? I'd really appreciate it.
I just wanted to, sounds like probably the last question, but I think it's very admirable what you've done. As an agency owner, we're quite new to Magento, only a couple of years, and I think it's quite a bizarre thing for you to stand up as a novice in front of everyone who, there's a lot of experts here, there's a lot of hands went up when they were qualified. I think it's quite bizarre, but quite nice, especially for people who are coming here who are fairly new to Magento, for you to stand up and take the hit for us all, really.
No, that was it. When we were talking through, there was some of the guys willing to do it on how we've extended some functionality. Now we've achieved something for one of our clients, which is obviously going to be very useful for you guys. But that's why I threw my hat in the ring, thinking, I quite like to stand up and see what you guys make of starting all over from scratch, which is something, because when you go to a conversation, you sort of mull around, you talk to people, but it's very hard to just sort of say, "Whoa, tell me what I should do." And I thought standing on the stage with the nice light shining at me seemed like a good idea. Yeah, glad you didn't boo me off. It was good.